Jeff, check it out. This is all that's left after this tree behind me here split in two, fell on those power lines, and smashed a car that was parked right here. Again, right now, if you are traveling in this area, you may want to avoid it because Highway 54 is shut down. They are diverting traffic over here on a small side road. So they're... Jeff, the Shawano County Sheriff has confirmed the suspect, a 28-year-old Gillette man, is in custody. He turned himself over after talking with hostage negotiators just after 4 this afternoon. Check out this big girl. Her name is Promise. She comes in at about 1,200 pounds. Now, I want you to take a look over here at this 5-gallon bucket. Over the course of a day, she will not drink 1, not 2, but 7 buckets. That's an equivalent of 35 gallons, which is pretty similar to about the size of a bathtub. The livestock barns aren't your thing. And if that's the case, we bring in Ryan Burke, who brings a new perspective. And Ryan, I need to tell you, I'm sorry, but you're not dirty enough to be in the hog barn. You're wearing the wrong attire to be out here at the farm.
You're right, Amy. I guess I'm just overdressed. They'll convert me yet.
Not sure of the severity of those injuries or who may be involved. Again, 20-car pileup, at least a 20-car pileup here on Interstate 39 is quieting down and things are getting cleaned up for you. We're going to continue to follow this developing story, though, for you out of Milton. Jeff? A severe storm came through this area, dropping hail on these vehicles here at Heritage Chevrolet, anywhere between a quarter to a nickel size. You can walk through this tent that's behind us and see all these animals daily. So, Jeff, I faced my fears. I'm holding the gator. I'm going to send it back to you now.
Nice work.
The worst of the storm has pushed through our area right now. We're about 10 miles south of Plover on the Bancroft, Wisconsin Rapids exit, right off of I-39, right on a side road. Hey, Jeff, I actually made the commute into work today when the snow was falling at its heaviest. And unfortunately, when I was coming in, I saw a lot of drivers with this, just a teeny tiny little peephole on their car, just drive in. Now, while it looks like it may serve its purpose, it's really extremely dangerous. Check this out. No visibility. Jeff, right now things are looking a-okay out here. The sun is shining, the skies are clear, and the winds are staying light. So come on down to Wausau's downtown airport, because in about an hour or so, there's going to be a dozen of these beautiful hot air balloons filling the field here. One of my biggest fears when they told me I was going to get in a kayak is we were going to go whitewater kayaking, but you don't have to do that to do this sport, right?
No, only a small percentage of kayakers are whitewater kayakers.
All right, give me my first quick lesson here. What do I need to know?
You're going to stay really loose, loose in the hips, so it's all about balance.
Hey, Jeff, it was an early start for all these animals and exhibitors as they made the long journey from the farm to the fair.
Nice job, buddy.
Yeah, I have to admit I'm not going to the X Games or to the Olympics anytime soon, but I have to say it is quite fun, and it's something I think I'm definitely going to try again.
It's an obvious question. You'll keep doing it, even you did it for a story, but it's something you'll put in
Exactly, and that's what Sam told me, my instructor. It's something that you've got to keep at it. You're not going to learn it overnight, but I will tell you, it really is a fun way to pass the time out in the cold weather. It was really cold yesterday when we shot that, but I would have never known.
You're active.
Hey, Jeff, this has been without a doubt one of the coldest and snowiest winters we've seen within the Wausau area in years. Nobody can argue that. And while many of us are pretty tired of this weather, I found 3 guys who are absolutely loving it. Check out the snow sculptor behind me. They are busy chipping away at this, which is all going to be part of Winterfest here in downtown Wausau. Hey, Jeff, there's most definitely enough time to come out yet tonight. And if you're like me and you feel like you got a lot of energy you need to burn off, but yet you still want to enjoy the beauty of Old Man Winter, this is the place you really need to be. A 68-year-old Marathon County man is facing several charges after he's accused of killing 8 3-day-old puppies. Now, we do need to warn you, some of these details are pretty disturbing and may be hard to hear. Officers from the state, Portage County, Waupaca County, and New London Police Department showed up at the property yesterday and were there for most of the day. The Division of Criminal Investigations would only say a search warrant was being executed. And I'm Amy Pflugshaupt. 50-year-old Mark Buckeye will get a mandatory life sentence in prison. Now, despite that warming trend Mike is talking about, there are several communities still worried about freezing pipes. 5 more in our area are being added to the list, asking residents to keep their faucets running. Investigators say it appears the bus failed to yield to the car Tuesday night near the Shawano-Brown County line. The driver of the car.
Channel 7 at 5 continues now with some important news you can use about the latest scam.
Yeah, this time scammers are charging just small amounts to your credit card, hoping you won't notice. Police say 19-year-old Selena Winchell led police to believe she had lung cancer.
prompting a friend to place a collection jar at a business to help pay her medical bills. But officers say she took the money and spent it on other things. And I'm Amy Pflugshaupt. It's a great start to the weekend here in Wisconsin. The Packers beat the Raiders tonight, 31-21, to improve their preseason record. New at 10 tonight, it's been a year since tragedy struck the Boston Marathon. Now, thousands of runners from all over will step onto the same streets where 2 bombs went off as part of a terrorist plot last April. Our Holly Tilson joins us now live in the studio. And Holly, you've had a chance to actually talk with 3 local qualifiers who will be heading out east for the race. And how do they feel about going to where this terrorist attack happened 1 year ago? Now, I unfortunately didn't get to see it. I was fast asleep. But did you catch that spectacular blood moon last night? You can tell it's dinner time here at the White Spruce Inn. There are 2 sure signs. A, the smell is coming from the kitchen behind us, and B, there are a ton of people out here hooping and hollering, having a great old time up here in Eagle River. Now, as they prepare to return home to central Wisconsin from that never-forgotten honor flight, they're in for quite the homecoming. Wow, that area sure looks different. I was up there that morning right after it happened. Glad to see the progress being made. Looking forward to your report. Emily Davies live in Merrill. Thank you. Nothing can ruin a relationship faster than having your significant other rooting for another team on football Sunday, let me tell you. A Stevens Point man accused of drugging and raping a woman at his home back in March is facing even more charges tonight. 32-year-old Stephen Tibbett is charged with 2 counts of second-degree sexual assault. Obviously, we're having some beautiful weather up here, and the man to thank for that is Chief Meteorologist Mike Brundling. Because of the beautiful weather, he's actually up here with us as well. He's going to have a full look at your forecast coming up, but first we're going to send things back home to Wausau, where Diana Norman joins us in the studio with the look at the day's biggest stories. Diana? The woman accused of swiping a days-old baby from its bassinet in Beloit appears to have a lengthy criminal history. We dig into it in 2 minutes on News Channel 7 at 10. That's right, News Channel 7 will be broadcasting the Sweet 16 matchup. But before all that action gets started, we're going to send it to Sports Director Dale Ryman. He joins us now live via Mobilize 7 from the Quant Fieldhouse. Hey, Dale. All right, we're all from Wisconsin. We all expect the winters to be cold, but I think many of us would be really happy if we could just keep it above 0. And are we on that trend now, Mike? Well, and while it's important to clean off your cars, your driveway, and even your sidewalk, there are some other areas you need to make sure you do not neglect, or you could face a pretty hefty fine. And I'm Amy Pflugshaupt. The sentence for Dale and Leilani Newman of Weston had been on hold pending the outcome of their appeal. They were convicted of second-degree reckless homicide after praying for their 11-year-old daughter, Kara, instead of taking her to the doctor.
News Channel 7's Amy Pflugshaupt is there. She joins us now live via Mobilize 7. Amy, how are things looking up there?
Jeff, the good news is the majority of the reports coming in right now are actually just power outages. But as you can see here behind me, there are a select few that were hit especially hard by this morning's storms that really packed a powerful punch.
I haven't seen a storm like this in probably 10 years.
Gusty winds, heavy rain, and even some hail turned the Rhinelander area into a disaster zone. And Ken Krull has quite the mess to clean up.
Rain was incredible. And all of a sudden, somebody came in and said, hey, there's a tree down on somebody's car back there.
It just so happened that Ken parked in that exact spot today. He's just one of the many to have the unfortunate run-in with Mother Nature.
Just trying to pick up the pieces. There's a lot of people in town that are in the same shape, though.
Like Edward Klowinski.
We heard a loud thunderclap, and all the power went out.
But that wasn't his only problem.
After a little bit, I went in the bedroom and water was running out of the ceiling tile in there.
Just outside of Edward's home, a 100-year-old pine tree was tore apart, causing a branch to come crashing through their ceiling. Thankfully, though, it wasn't this much larger branch. It actually just missed the house.
I called a friend and he put some plastic on the roof and some of the branches to hold it down. But and I called my insurance company, and they will put in a claim, so they'll be there, well, sometime today, I hope.
I just talked with Wisconsin Public Service crews, and they say because of the extensive damage, it could be before tomorrow before this power is fully restored up here in the Northwoods. And Jeff, while that makes things very inconvenient for a lot of people, the majority of the people that I've talked to are trying to find the silver lining in all of this by saying things really could have been a whole lot worse.
Amy Pflugshaupt live in Rhinelander starting our team coverage. Thank you. Amy Pflugshaupt has been on that scene almost since it started. She joins us now live via Mobileye 7 from Wittenberg with the latest. Amy?
And Jeff, as you can see behind me here at the Shell and McDonald's combo in Wittenberg, it looks to be business as usual. But just about 2 hours ago, it was quite a different scene here. The Shawano County Sheriff says just before 2 p.m., a 28-year-old Gillette man entered the McDonald's with a handgun. Now, he let some of those people inside go. However, he did keep one hostage. After talking with negotiators, the hostage was released unharmed at about 3 p.m., and then the suspect turned himself over to authorities about 4. Now, the sheriff says there is no relationship between the suspect and the hostage. It appears this hostage was chosen at random. And after a tense afternoon, the sheriff says the hostage is actually in good spirits.
Very well, very well. Well composed, kept us calm throughout the whole incident, and I would say he did very well.
The suspect, who is now in custody, is being evaluated. The sheriff says he never demanded cash or any type of money once inside, but the sheriff believes a possible motive could be some sort of depression. Now, due to the nature of this incident, the Wittenberg-Burnhamwood High School, which is just a few blocks away from where this happened, they actually put their school on lockdown for about 45 minutes, but the district administrator says the students were released at normal time to their parents, but they were all advised to steer clear of this area since it was pretty heavily armed with SWAT and other law enforcement agencies. Now, as for charges, the sheriff says he expects several to be filed. However, he did not elaborate on what he expects will be filed at this point. Jeff, the good news after all of this here is that the standoff ended peacefully, and thankfully no one was hurt.
And while we're hoping Friday's hearing clears up a lot of the confusion, several counties are continuing to issue same-sex marriage licenses. Amy Pflugshaupt joins us now live outside the Marathon County Courthouse to continue our big story. Amy?
Jeff, starting tomorrow at 8 a.m., the Marathon County Courthouse will be issuing same-sex marriage licenses. Now, that wasn't the county's original plan. I just spoke with the county clerk just about 2 hours ago to find out why the county had a change of heart.
We never received any direction from the state on issuing the licenses, and we still have not received any direction.
U.S. District Judge Barbara Crabb's open-ended ruling has left many counties guessing as to how to go about issuing same-sex marriage licenses. The Vital Records Office is now processing the licenses after it had kept them on hold pending legal advice from the Attorney General. Now, after much discussion between Kotke and the county's attorney, because the state started filing the licenses on Wednesday, Marathon County decided to move forward.
It's fairness to the rest of the same-sex couples that are receiving from other counties that are issuing them.
I did some checking to see if any of our area counties have issued any same-sex licenses since Friday's ruling. Out of the 10 counties participating in our viewing area, Taylor, Wapaka, Oneida, and Langlade have issued one apiece, and Wood County has issued 3. A look at the statewide numbers as of midday Wednesday, 483 licenses were issued, with a majority of them in Dane and Milwaukee counties.
Kotke tells me here in Marathon County, she's had one couple inquire about getting a license, and she's expecting them bright and early tomorrow morning. But Jeff, we need to remember all of this can change pending the outcome of Friday's hearing.
Case is not over yet. Amy Pflugshaupt live in Wausau. Thank you.
It's all fun and games. That is, until someone gets hurt. Just ask Brandon Olaf, a senior at Wausau West, who took the plunge and is hobbling away with a bum leg.
So my friend was standing at the end of the dock there, and I was a little bit further down, probably halfway down, and I did my video, and I looked at her, and said 24 hours to go to my other friends, and then I jumped off to the side right here.
And with that splash, Brandon knew something was terribly wrong.
All of a sudden we got a phone call, and I said, well, bring him home, because at that point we had no idea what he had done. And the minute they opened up the door to the car, I knew there was something seriously wrong. His foot was about the size of or the ankle was about the size of a softball.
I broke the bottom part of my fibula on my ankle, and in the process I had to get 6 pins and a plate put into my ankle with surgery.
I was upset. Not upset that it was that he had done it was more I was upset because he was hurt. It was that mother bear instinct in me at that point.
I didn't know how deep the water was, and that was my biggest problem.
And while Brandon will eventually heal, this new Facebook fad that's giving everyone an extreme rush has a number of other problems that may not be so forgiving.
And a surge of adrenaline is not necessarily a healthy thing if you have heart disease in the form of a prior heart attack, heart failure, or family history of sudden cardiac death.
While that risk may be low for a majority of us, Dr. Mayhorn says your biggest problems come within the first 3 minutes of being in the water, and that includes cold shock.
Which means that the first initial response is to gasp. So you never want to dive in and have that gasp reflex occur underwater.
In just 5 minutes, your muscles can shut down.
You're shivering and you're breathing so quickly as part of the response to cold water that you can't swim. So very good swimmers can get into trouble in very shallow water.
And if you're in the water for more than 30 minutes, hypothermia can set in. Now, while these are all serious risks to taking the chilly splash,
most folks can do this safely in a reasonable way.
As for Brandon, he says he won't be doing this again anytime soon, but those of you who will still take the dare.
Never assume, always be safe about what you're doing. That's the one thing I regret, just jumping off the dock and assuming it's going to be okay, because you never know what can happen.
And as for Brandon's mom, she knows kids will be kids, but she's thanking her lucky stars. It's just a broken leg.
There was somebody watching over him that night, I'll tell you.